Malvern De Bruyn, COSATU Provincial Secretary.
Okay, fine. Can you just explain why we're here today?
Yeah, today we are here to march to the Provincial Legislature and as well to the Provincial Parliament. But this time around we do it differently. That we've asked for the Speaker of the National Parliament to come to the Legislature to collect the memorandum. But the memorandum will talk about the question of decent jobs for our people, real jobs for our people, jobs in general for our people. The memorandum also talks about the question of crime in the province. We'll refer to the issue of the Palestinian crisis and what we want our government to do. Then from there we're going to march to the city of Cape Town. We will hand over a memorandum to the mayor's office. And that memorandum also talks the question of high electricity tariffs, high water tariffs, the question of the anti-poor budget and also crime. So those are the issues that we will be covering today. That's why we're marching to the government, to national legislature, to the provincial legislature and to national government.
So Malvern, this is not the first march and definitely not the last march. In the past, you've marched in thousands and going to the same places. Have you received anything that was positive, like any response or any results that were positive?
Yeah, we received communication from the Premier in last year, but we're not convinced, and I don't think they are doing enough to talk about the question of job creation in the province. They said they have steps in place, but we're of the view that it's not moving fast enough. The same applies for national government. There's a stimulus plan, there's an infrastructure plan to create jobs. But the problem is that we see not real jobs in our province and nationally. Then you have the question of the EPWPs, and the city and the province are now hiding behind the question of EPWPs, and that's not real jobs. We're saying there's a need for people to clean streets, there's a need for people to work on the trucks that collect dust, the bins. But why do they use EPWPs? And those people have been deprived of medical aid, they've been deprived of pension fund, etc. There's no benefits, and they're getting paid less than 20 rand an hour. So that's a real job. So the DA or the provincial government and the cities are hiding behind the fact that they create jobs for EPWPs. And we're saying we want real jobs, we want decent jobs for our people. So we're not there yet in terms of what we want to achieve. But we can say that our marches can have an impact, but with the issue that it just goes very slow in terms of the service delivery.
So how many people are we expecting today?
We're expecting close to 1,000, 2,000 people because we want more, but unfortunately there's no work, no pay issue, and workers will have the issue that they say they can't afford to lose days' wages, but they are there, so solidarity, they support our campaigns. But let's see how the numbers will change, because I'm aiming to move by 10 o'clock. By 10 o'clock we'll have a better idea as to the numbers that will attend.
That is happening in Palestine. What is it that you would like to put out there? What is happening in Gaza?
Yes, today marks 2 years of the genocide, the Holocaust and apartheid in Palestine. And COSATU, we stand in solidarity with COSATU in the international call for decent work. This is very important. We want our labor, our life and our liberty, and our labor is connected to our liberty. We cannot be unemployed and live a decent life. It's a mockery of our constitution. So we demand jobs, we demand the creation of jobs, we demand decent jobs, we demand decent wages. We say away with labor brokers, which puts us into tenure, which doesn't offer us a permanent safety for an income. But we're not only saying it for South Africa, we stand in international solidarity all over the world, and particularly in Palestine, for liberty, for our lives, our liberty and our labor. In Palestine, there's a genocide taking place, and we salute COSATU for standing with the Palestinians. The Palestinians, and that at the recent Central Executive Committee, they had a resolution that we want actionable steps in order to secure relief in terms of what's happening, in terms of the self-determination, in terms of a ceasefire, in terms of the wanting aid, unrestricted aid, getting into there to lift the siege and the blockade in Gaza, to ensure that humanitarian aid flows unencumbered into the area, to stop the famine and for Israel to be out of it, for the genocide to stop, for the ethnic cleansing to stop, and the collective punishment to stop, for them to be able to live decent lives and through decent labor and everything else that goes with it. We are very happy today, in a sense. Our flotilla team, Nelson Mandela's grandson, Chief Mandla Mandela, Zukis Bawana, Fatima Hendricks, Somar, Shalva and Rais Mullah, they are in safe hands in Jordan, and we thank the government and the DIRCO for securing their release. They went through a horrible time in Israel, being abducted on those seas, but we're still fighting the fight to lift the blockade around there, and we want to ensure still that the medicines, the food gets into Gaza. So very proud of our South Africans who have done that at the governmental level and at this level. What we're asking COSATU today is to stand with us, calling for the coal embargo to be imposed on Israel. We cannot have boats going to Israel providing humanitarian aid, and then ships and coal going from here to fuel the genocide there. So what we're saying is that the government must impose laws to enact so that there's no safe harbor for Israeli goods going from there and fuel that is going from there. We're also asking and telling Ramaphosa to kick Israel out of South Africa, to stop the embassy from creating havoc here, and to shut them down. That's the other thing that we're asking. Shut out all trade to Israel. And we know it's going to affect us in different ways, but we must find other means for decent jobs and a decent living around here. The other thing that we're asking the South African government is to ensure that there is a Unite for Peace resolution at an international level for us to do that. And that is, COSATU is fully behind us, but what we're asking the trade unions to do, SACTU, the African Clothing and Textile Unions, to support us in the boycott of Cape Union March, so that they can stop the complicity in the genocide. We're asking COSATU in particular to not to allow Israeli goods to be handled in our ports. Those are some of our demands today, and we feel very excited and happy to stand in solidarity and each and one.
Amanda! 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 Amanda!